Hello and welcome. My name is, oh gosh. Welcome to the Fumble Forward. We're just going to do a dry run. Okay. I just feel like every possible hurdle that could be coming right now is coming for me and this podcast. I have sat on this idea for, whew, I would say a good couple months, like definitely at least 3 months of just kind of formulating which way do I want to share this story in this new place that I'm in at my life, of understanding how imperfectness plays into my life and how relationships are so important in understanding how they impact me, how I impact people, all these things. And I've just been like kind of lazy with it, to be honest. Like, I'm like, oh, I have this great idea. And then you sit on it and life happens, excuses. And I finally got to this place where I'm like, okay, I have this great podcast idea of talking about how imperfection plays a role in our life, whether we acknowledge it or not, and how to not let it overwhelm us or derail us from our truest life, but instead work with it and understanding that the relationship you have with God, the relationship you have with yourself, and the relationship you have with others are critical to having the truest life and path for ourselves. And once I got to that, I'm like, oh my gosh, this idea is great. It's time to get it out there. And then I kind of got stuck in that, well, what if it flops? I mean, I did run another business for about 6 years about sustainability, about creating a life you love. And in so many ways, it fell beneath my expectations for it, and I didn't want that to happen again, after putting myself on full blast on social media. So anybody who knew me knew this was a part of my journey, and I kind of let that, like, in the background, stop me from making tangible steps with this podcast, especially knowing myself. I'm very, like, get the ish done kind of person, for sure. And it wasn't until I had, like, this support that was just steady and constant from my hubby that I was like, I need to get this going. And then I finally get to that place, and your girl is hitting hurdles that I'm just like, come again, what? Like, legit, I took forever to even figure out where in my house I wanted to record. That was the whole situation. Setting up, trying to get lighting, all these different things, understanding recording situations. Like, I was like, okay, that was one hurdle. That was like one day. Setting up the mic and understanding that was another. Going on TikTok. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, why is there so many pieces to this? But I'm like, I'm going to push forward through the frustration, the confusion, all the things. And then I finally get to a place where I'm like, okay, I do my first dry run, which we'll see if that ever sees a light of day. But I did my first dry run. It was such a great feeling to know that I've, like, put stuff together. I have the video, I have the mic here, the lap, like the whole situation. And I was really excited. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wake up today, gonna do it early where it's quiet and just go ham. Tell me why my camera battery died. And I was like, wow. Oh my goodness. So then I couldn't do it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to record after I finish with work because it's still working 9 to 5. And then the Wi Fi goes out, and my outline for this whole episode is on Google Docs. So I'm forgetting my intro that I've looked at like 20,000 times. I'm forgetting all the key points. And I'm just like, you know what? Actually, this is a part. Oh my gosh. Ooh, y'all. Okay. Like, I'm just having a moment. But this is like technically so much. This is what the podcast is about, the imperfectness of life, and how, though life is imperfect, it doesn't stop you from going forward. It's not a roadblocker. It's just extra flair to how you envisioned things would go. And oh man, it's just so crazy because I'm doing this so freestyle. So it's like hitting me that I'm like, literally, my podcast is it's called Fumble Forward. It's about imperfectness. It's about the relationship with yourself, others, and God. And I'm like realizing in the process of setting up this podcast for serving others, I'm running to all these imperfect problems. My battery for my camera being dead, my mic not being set up, my internet not working, like all these different hurdles. And I'm like, oh, I probably should just start talking and record, and we're just gonna keep it moving and do my best to recall everything that I wrote down. But that was that was like squeak of the chair. It wasn't me. But that was a long winded way to say, welcome, fellow fumblers. This is a place for people that want to grow the relationship with God, themselves, and others, and doing all that imperfectly. And in hopes that we find our truest path. And I firmly believe we all have one. And I'm your host, Akuya. And usually this is going to be a lot of solo episodes, but I'm also going to have guests too, because I think guests take a story to a whole new level. And really, I'm going to be bringing you all along in this journey in hopes that you also get that clarity. You also get the resources and the tools and the strategies to move forward, even if it's you fumbling forward, skipping forward, tripping forward, whatever, you are moving forward. And one thing that I do want to talk about in all my episodes is like one thing I'm doing that week for self-care, and really that's a part of this imperfectness, because one thing that I'm really good at is like having a strong work ethic, but my rest ethic is like pretty poor. It's poor. It's getting better. I saw someone on Instagram say that, like they want their work ethic as strong as their rest ethic. And I was like, ooh, yes, for that gym. I'm not even going to claim that I made that. I definitely got that from Instagram, somewhere in the Instagram world. But I say all that to say, prioritizing that in my life has been big over the last, I would say about year. So one of the things I'm doing for self-care is I'm getting back into journaling. Journaling has been a part of my life since I was a little kid. Like I know for sure I was journaling back in primary school, elementary school about, my classes and the people I had a crush on and what I'm excited to do and family trips and things like that. And so now I'm just getting back into that flow of like taking time to grovel in how amazing my life is, or gravel and understand a challenge I had and seeing if I handle it the best way and thinking about it from different perspectives. It's just that nice time to just soak in my life for better or worse and just use all of it to fuel me forward. And so I've been really enjoying that time. I just get in my bed and it's just me and my journal talking, working it out. So that's what I'm doing for self-care this week. And also something that I want to talk about on the podcast every time that I'm hoping inspires you as well is, what am I doing to build community? That was a big part of COVID-19. It just redefined what community means to me. And really my community got broken down to the bare bones, it feels like. And now I'm in the process of building it back up. And with that means intentional effort, right? It's not just gonna manifest itself. And so I'm doing intentional things every week, every month to build the community that I want, that makes sense for where I am in my life, not right now, and not just a community that's just kind of been there because it's been there. That doesn't really do much for me in the things that I'm trying to do. So one of the things that I'm working on this week to build community is I want to be better at responding to loved ones' text messages. Okay, I used to be like on it. When someone texts me, I'd be like, brr. But like now I'll just be like, oh, okay, I need to think about that, or something comes up and I'm like, I'll get back to it. And then it's like 6 hours later and I'm like, the conversation, whatever they even had to talk to me by that point may have fell flat. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just doing better with that. And it's less about people feeling the need that I'm going to reply to them in 5 seconds and more of just being a person of action. Like if I see something, deal with it then. Handle something then that can be handled then. And so that's more of what that's speaking to. And also that it's showing people that like I care that you messaged me, that you reached out, and I'm going to reciprocate with timely response times. I want to know if anyone else struggles with that. I feel like a lot of people do because we just getting lazy and it's so easy. It's like squirrel and our mind is distracted somewhere. So that's what I'm working on to build community in this coming kind of week. But yes, this is the Fumble Forward podcast, and it's going to be really a very imperfect journey. As you can see, this episode, this was not, I repeat, not how it was supposed to go. Like, not even a little bit. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a planner. I have a strategy, game plan, written detail. This was not this episode. But it's funny because I feel like it's telling to the podcast essence and what is probably to come. And also, I love the idea that I will be someone that's more comfortable with going with the flow, with going with unexpected turns and making the most out of it, all those kind of things. And so, even though this is supposed to be more planned, it is not. I'm moving forward because I don't want this to stop me from getting this out by your girl's birthday. And I did want to say for all of you that are starting this journey with episode 1, legit, this is really going to be, every season is going to be themed, is how I'm looking at it right now. And this first season, season 1, is going to be themed Happy Yourself. Yeah, happy yourself. I'm pumped about this one because trust when I say I've been thinking about this concept and how I wanted to share it all with you and helping you on that journey because there's so many of us that are feeling lonely in a crowd. And there's so many of us feeling like we're doing life alone, but we're not. And this theme of happy yourself is going to really dive into that. Like, what does happiness mean for yourself? How has your happiness changed over time? What's ways to increase your happiness? What's ways to be more aware of your happiness level? Is happiness what we should be striving for or other emotions like joy, peace, etc.? So it's just going to go into all of that. But I welcome you all on this journey. I welcome you if you're just literally listening in, watching in to see if I fall on my face. It'd just be another wasted 6 years. If you're listening in because you actually resonate with this story because you've been struggling with imperfectness in your life, you've been struggling with your relationship with God, yourself, and others, and you're like, girl, if you got even a little nugget, I'll take it. Or if you're just genuinely curious, like you're just like, girl, what you about? Let's see where we go here. I welcome you because it's going to be that. It's going to be imperfectness. It's going to be learning. It's going to be growth. Those are all the things I am speaking to existence for this podcast and this community, and that it's going to be a real good time. And I feel like I can confidently guarantee you that every episode will have some type of special sauce to it, starting with episode 1, because this was not what I was thinking. But as I've really learned through COVID and 2020, and as it's kind of expanded into these multiple years, is that even though things don't go as planned, doesn't mean it's not a good plan. And that really stuck with me. Like, even though it's not my plan, doesn't mean it's not a good plan. Doesn't mean it's not a better plan. Doesn't mean that my plan was more sure and safe. It's not any of those things. And so this podcast is really going to be about building the community of people that want to understand the role that not being perfect plays, the roles of understanding where to focus our attention and time and effort matters, and really bring you all along with this. And so I'm going to wrap it up because I don't want to ramble too long and I'm excited to do more episodes for you all. But I so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're listening. I appreciate you taking the time out of your life because the reality is time is our most precious resource that we have, and you spent it here on this journey. And I am pumped. So, I hope that this podcast episode resonated with you and you found something that sparked a little something. And if that's true, I would hope that you would join on this journey, continue to listen to the podcast, subscribe, tell others to listen and join in for whatever reason, even if it's just curiosity. And I'm excited to see you tune in for the next episode. Bye.